All right, everybody, let's get started on our patterned Thanksgiving turkey. So as you can see, here's my turkey, and each of the feathers in the back has a pattern, and we are going to start out by drawing the outline shapes of our turkey. And we use a lot of regular basic geometric shapes for this, okay? So the first shape that we're going to draw is the turkey's head. And I am going to make a dot. I'm going to be using my paper in the portrait position today, not in the landscape, okay? And I'm going to put my paper right here. I'm going to draw a little dot. I'm using a black crayon because I think it'll be easier for you to see. But if you would like to use a pencil so that you can erase any lines that you don't want, then please feel free to do that. Now that I have a dot on my paper, I am going to draw the circle that will be my turkey's head. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to leave some space around the side and the top because I'm going to need that space later to put my feathers in. There, okay. My crayon broke. I tried to tape it back together, but you know, it just doesn't really work. There we go. I'll just use it like it is. That's the best part about crayons, is that they work even when they're broken. So now we're going to make the bottom of the turkey his body, but we want to make sure that we leave a little room for the feet. So again, I'm gonna figure out how much room I want to leave for the feet. I'm gonna make a little mark. That way I'll know where I'm going. I'm going to start right about here, maybe sometimes make a little mark. And then I'm gonna draw a curved line. It comes down to that little spot I made, and another curved line that comes down to the spot I made, and there is his body. It's kind of an oval shape. Now we're going to make his beak. So we're going to use an upside down triangle to make his beak. I'm going to start out with a line that just goes across the face, just like that. And then I'm going to make two diagonal lines. Oh. Lunch is over. Anyway, now that is the beak. Now we're going to make this little piece right here called the wattle, W-A-T-T-L-E, the wattle. And I kind of looked at this, it almost looked like a little ice cream cone or a snow cone. So if you think about it like that, and you start over here on this side, and you go to make the ice cream or the snow cone on the cone, and then you just keep going over the edge, like, oh no, I have spilled my snow cone right over the edge. Then that kind of gives you a nice wattle. Now remember, while I'm doing this in a particular way, but you are the artist of your own turkey, so you get to make choices about how you want to do things. One of the choices are, the eyes. So on my example, I used little black dots. And on this one, I used little black dots, eyelashes. And on this one, I used little ovals with a black spot in the middle. And on this one, I used, maybe a half circle, right? With a little black dot in there. And let's see, I had one other one. Oh yes, and this one, where I went to make a black dot and kind of left a little white spot on there. So there, you can make them however you choose to do it, because this is your turkey. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make these little black dots. There, now we have our turkey face. Okay, now let's make our feet. Now the thing I wanted to show you about the feet, and the thing that I tell you guys all the time, is that there is no one right way to do something. We always have some choices. So a simple way to make a bird foot, turkey foot, is to make a straight line, and then to make the little claws or toes, that stick out on the bottom of the leg. One of the ways I like to do that is to make two lines right next to each other, and then kind of make a zigzag line to make the foot of the turkey or the chicken or the bird. So what I'm going to do now Let me see if I can find my example. Okay, on this example, I have the feet, they're just coming right from underneath the turkey. But on this example, the feet kind of go up kind of into the turkey body, and I kind of like that. But because I used a crayon and I've already drawn my line, if I draw my turkey legs like this, there's my little turkey feet, then you can see that there's a line right there, and I've already drawn it in crayon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use an artist's magic trick, and I'm going to add more of whatever it is I'm trying to hide to make it look like I did it on purpose. So I'm just going to make some lines like this. It's kind of like camouflage. And then hopefully no one will ever even know, especially if I can change that line was a mistake. There we go. Okay. Now I feel like my legs look like they're coming out of the turkey body. And now we will make the feathers. Okay, we're going to make them nice and big. So I'm going to take this feather right almost to the top of the paper. I want to make it nice and big because I'm going to fill these with pattern, and it will be easier for me to fill them with pattern if they are larger. Almost all the way out to the paper edge. And then you're going to make your feathers, you know, come down about halfway down the turkey, right? Once they hit about the halfway mark, you can stop making feathers. Let's see. Oop. And so while I'm finishing the feathers, let's talk a little bit about pattern. Okay, so pattern being something that is repeated. So we can have patterns in music, visual patterns, patterns of shapes, patterns of behavior, right? If I get up every morning, brush my teeth, brush my hair, and go eat breakfast, and I do it the same way every morning, it's a pattern of behavior. I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's okay. Okay, so I left my other my other turkey here so we can kind of look at the patterns that I have. Now, if you run out of patterns, you can always use a pattern twice. So I used this pattern twice. I used kind of a feather pattern twice. I even used this pattern twice. But when you color them different colors, then sometimes it keeps them from looking the same. So here we go. I'm going to make a circle and a circle. This feather's not very large, so what I might have to do is make a half circle and a half circle. Excuse me. And then I'm going to try not to put the same kinds of patterns right next to each other. So I wouldn't put a curvy circle pattern right next to a spot where I put circles. All right. So now maybe I do this pattern. And when we are finished making all our patterns, then we can start to color. And when we color, right, I would like for you to think about filling in all the white space, okay? So sometimes that means you have to put more than one layer of color on there. If you're using crayons or colored pencils or fancy alcohol markers, then you can mix your colors. You can put different layers of colors on top of each other, and they make new, exciting colors. If you are using markers, regular Crayola markers, that can be difficult, right? It can be a little more difficult to mix your colors. Sometimes it's, you know, you get what you get because, you know, they just don't mix that well. And that's okay too. So let's see. Maybe maybe I'll do that checkerboard pattern right here. I don't want to put too many lines because you know what? I got to color in these checkerboards. There we go. And then maybe I'll just put a couple more spots. Actually, I don't need to make spots. As long as it repeats, it's a pattern. So I think I'll make this one full of little plus signs, but you know what? They look a lot like that, but that's okay. There we go. Little plus signs over there. And I'll just make these curved lines over here. Okay. Now there's one more thing, well, probably more than one. If you want to make your turkey with ground and sky, then you're gonna wanna choose a place to put a horizon line, right? Just a little flat line, a little straight line on the back. Remember that your sky does come all the way down to the ground, okay? And if you don't care to make your turkey with sky and ground, you can always just color the whole background of your turkey, whatever color you choose. Because I really feel like your artwork doesn't look finished until you have colored the whole paper. And the only parts that should be white are parts that are supposed to be white. So here is something I wanted to show you. I'm dumping out my crayons right here. See this area right here where it's darker underneath the face? Okay, that's a different value of brown. We call that shading, right? We're creating a shadow. And I wanted to show you how to do that if it's not something that you're already able to do. So let's see, I'm gonna use my black crayon again. And let's see, well, I guess I'll go ahead with the brown. I kind of like making the turkey brown. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this crayon and very lightly, we are going to color some of this black underneath, right? Super lightly. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm just gonna, again, lightly, right around the neck. I'm just putting another layer on. I'm not really pressing down any harder than I was the first time. So now it's a little darker around the neck and it lightens as it kind of comes out like this. And then watch what happens when you take your brown crayon and you start to color. Here's something else I want to talk to you about when you're coloring. Shortening your coloring strokes. I know that sometimes we want to get all the way across. I got to get this thing colored in. I got to get it. It's going to happen fast, right? Art is not about speed. And I feel like I have more control, right? And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm turning my paper so that as I'm coloring, I'm kind of coloring alongside the edges. That makes it a lot easier for me to stay in the lines, right? I'll color right around something first and then fill it in so that I don't color over it. There. So once this is colored, sometimes I really make a point to color in the direction of something. Like if I'm making grass, for this one, I should probably be coloring in the way I am right now because of the feathers, but I just don't want to go out of the lines right now. And then you can see that this part down here underneath the face, it still looks brown, but it looks darker brown. And that kind of gives him kind of makes him look a little more three-dimensional. Right? Now, if I have areas where I can see white of the paper, I know you can't cover all the white, but I will go back over them and see if I can't cover them up a little bit. All right, that looks good. So then we'll continue, right? Color the face, color the beak and the wattle, and the legs and the background, and then color in your patterns. And then when it's all colored in, there is your beautiful patterned, feathered Thanksgiving turkey. Thanks, you guys. I hope you had a good time.